illinoisjobpost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is illinoisjobpost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Mr. Jason Spang is the superintendent of Mt Pulaski Schools. My guest on the Zoom call today, Mr. Spang, good to see you, sir. How are you?
Seth, doing great. Good to see you as well. This beautiful February Wednesday.
Not as good as Monday, right? Or Sunday, or whatever day that was. We had that real nice day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a threat of ice this afternoon, so never a dull moment in the world of education. For sure.
Yeah, I got to ask you. You thinking about sending those kids home a little early today because of that?
Not at the moment. Obviously, we're going to keep our eye on things. A lot of things we look at, just like all districts do. Once you get kids here in the morning, and obviously we were able to do so safely this morning, as there's no precipitation right now. Our focus shifts to when the best time is to get kids home, and there's several factors that play into that, as far as when parents are home, when they're not home, the condition of the roads, what our road commissioners are telling us, those kinds of things. So
yep,
we're
sure.
gonna keep an eye on things.
Well, and of course, you've got a lot of rural area to navigate through, and sometimes those spots in the county don't get treated first. So I'm sure that adds to the layer of challenges and considerations.
Yeah, about 200 square miles we have. So.
Mm-hmm. No question. Well, Mr. Spang, I know you and I have chatted over the past few visits that you've been in Mt Pulaski now for, 8 months or so, give or take, and you jump right into strategic planning in your first year. How's that process going?
It went very well. We actually just had our strategic planning event this past Saturday, February 1st. We brought in Ralph Grimm from the Illinois Association of School Administrators. He's one of five field service directors for the state of Illinois, working with superintendents all across the state. And so he facilitated that workshop for us. And so it went from 8:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. A lot of collaboration. We brought in, obviously, board members, administrators, staff, parents. We had students that were a part of the process. We have business owners. The Economic Planning Development Board had representation here.
Wow.
We're all working collaboratively together, and I think that's important. And so, we were able to sit down and, after the welcome and, feeding everybody, which is always important to do, we sat down and we went through kind of a SWOT analysis, which is, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the district. And talked about a lot. We narrowed it down to some focus areas that we feel strongly about, and those include but are not limited to highly qualified staff. We've done an excellent job, even with the last collective bargaining agreement that we're currently in the middle of a 3-year contract right now. I mean, we offer one of the most competitive salary and benefits packages for all schools in Central Illinois. We're right at the top. We take pride in that. So that's something that we want to continue. And so, being a small school district, with not necessarily all the facilities as larger districts, you have to make your district, attractable and enviable for teachers to come work. And so, that's been proof in the pudding for us as our elementary schools going on 2 years in a row now, being an exemplary school in the state of Illinois, and our high school is very close. And so we want to keep improving. There's always room for improvement, but, we've done a great job with hiring highly qualified staff. One example is Jan Bowers, who's a math teacher at the high school. She was hired a few years ago, and, she's eligible for retirement right now, and she's taught at the college level, and she's teaching dual credit for us. And so we had an opportunity to hire someone fresh out of college, but we chose not to do that because we want to provide absolutely the best opportunity for our students and provide dual credit opportunities to save our students money on the back end, when they go to junior college. And so
Sure.
when I was at Bureau Valley, we were lucky enough to, by the time I left, we had an agreement with Sauk Valley, and we were able to graduate our first student in my last year there with their high school diploma and their associates.
Wow.
And
Nice.
and so that's our goal here as well. We offer 40 credit hours of dual credit at Mount Pulaski High School. One of the things
Wow.
one of the things we hang our hat on, and something we're going to continue to expand and improve for the students of the district.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a heck of an opportunity for a district like Mount Pulaski, given your, student body size and the resources and all those things. You figure that's typically stuff for the Lincolns and the Decatur's and the Springfields and all those bigger, communities around you. For Mount Pulaski to have that's pretty outstanding. When it comes to strategic planning, Mr. Spang, what are some, you talk about curriculum things. How about other areas that whether it was the community or your stakeholders, what all did some of those folks have to say about other things in the district?
Yeah, sure. So capital projects obviously is a big one. We've talked about how lucky we are in the district to receive significant revenue from the wind farms. And so, we've talked about this before, Seth, but that wind farm revenue won't be there forever. So you want to put things in place, in the form of capital projects. That way, when that revenue goes away, and everything we're hearing from IASA and the state of Illinois in education is, a lot of the funding is going to, start reducing, across the state. And that's something we have to keep in mind. So, we always hope for the best, prepare for the worst, but, we're in the process of improving all of our facilities. We've done that in the last 5 years with the high school. Everything is brand new with the exception of the gym at the high school. And then we are slated to break ground in the summer of 27 or the summer of 28 for the elementary school expansion. We have the athletic facility at Veterans Park that's going to be completed this summer. And again, the reason that's a focal point for us is because facilities don't last forever, but that's the most expensive probably commodity that you have is your facilities. And so we don't want there to be a question of the quality of our facilities when that revenue, does start to dwindle away. So
yeah, well, and to that end, I mean, you talk about setting yourself up well for the future, because like you said, that revenue's not going to be there forever. But at the same time, you've got to take advantage of it when it's there. You don't want to just stock it all away for a rainy day. While you've got that opportunity, you need to take advantage of it. So,
and that's a great point. And a prime example of that is the solar project that we're slated to put in this summer. So. We've contacted a performance contractor, and we're in the process of, confirming a project for this summer that will be on one of our properties here on campus. But essentially, we would put in solar, and we're keeping an eye on things, obviously, to make sure the IRA incentive from the federal government is still there. Obviously, there's a lot of change going on right now, and a lot of uncertainty. And so as long as that remains, then that's one thing we're looking out for our taxpayers as well. So if we're able to put in solar, we would be self-sustaining and essentially have no electric or gas bill for years to come.
Wow.
And so that's part of the project we're looking at for this summer as well.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Any other areas? And if you don't mind, I'd like, again, our guest on the Zoom today, Mr. Jason Spang, superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. Do you mind addressing that elementary project? I know it feels like we just briefly touched on it our last couple of visits. What's going on there, and why is it why so far down the road? How about that?
Yeah, so the reason it's so far down the road, we don't want to put too many projects on the district right now. One thing you have to keep in mind whenever you're adding on to a facility is when is the best time to do that. And with Veterans Park as the example in the north end of town, that's not located at an educational center. So we don't have to worry about, students attending that venue when the right time to do that. Whereas, the expansion of the elementary school, you got to keep in mind when is the best time for construction. We also want to keep in mind our finances. And so, all these projects that we're putting in, we've been lucky enough to do that and pay cash for those and not have to take out any kind of bonds, not have to ask the taxpayers to pass a referendum and raise the tax rate. So we've been able to either maintain or even lower the tax rate with all these projects. And so that's why we want to step out when the right time to break ground and to complete these things are. So
Gotcha.
we're looking at a possible 9 classroom addition. It would put in a lot of junior high classrooms, the addition of an additional gymnasium at the elementary school. But then we would still utilize all of our current areas of the building here at the elementary, and we would, do some building improvements, revitalize some areas, just offer more for our students. And so we wouldn't bulldoze or knock down anything that we currently have, but we would just renovate, but then also expand. And so the reason we're slated to do that probably summer of 27 or 28 again is so we don't have to take out bonds for credit and then essentially, possibly raise the tax rate for our taxpayers. So we want to be fiscally responsible and always keep our taxpayers in mind.
Gotcha. Well, look forward to that. And you said renderings are out for that. Is that correct? I thought you mentioned you brought that out
Correct.
at your one of your tournaments, right?
Yeah, the Bill Rex tournament. So that tournament obviously is over at the high school. So we put our renderings on display for what that facility might look like. And then we've transitioned those renderings to be put on display at every one of our elementary school events
Cool.
here. So, with junior high volleyball going on, junior high basketball, we're right in the middle of boys getting ready to start. We've getting ready to complete postseason for boys basketball right now, but we're trying to give our public, views, so that way they can comment, offer suggestions or improvements. But our goal is always to be transparent with our community, and so we've done that with the park. We actually just had talks last week of completing a sidewalk from Vonderleith Retirement Community, a paved sidewalk all the way over to the 8-lane all-weather tracks, because it's important for those folks to get out and use that facility and exercise and walk and those kinds of things. So
Gotcha.
Those are the things we're excited about. But when we get back to strategic planning, in addition to the highly qualified staff, continue to provide resources for all of our kiddos. Definitely maintaining the level of communication that we have with the community, and then safety. So, safety is a huge priority for all school districts. And when we talk about safety, it's not just the facility structure safety and having security cameras and those kinds of things. It's making sure students feel safe, when they walk in the building. And that answer is different depending on which student you may ask. So, there's some things that we can do within the inner works of the building, but the things we can do structurally as well to provide the best environment for our families.
Gotcha. What'd you hear about safety, and what are some maybe places that will take you in this process? Sure.
So we do a great job currently. We have security cameras in all of our buildings. We have an intergovernmental agreement with Logan County. And so we have a school resource officer full-time for the district. We also have security within our security cameras, if you will, that's weapon detection. And it's called Zero Eyes. And so essentially, if any of our cameras pick up anything that looks like a weapon, then we're notified automatically, and law enforcement is notified automatically. And it's worked really well for us. And so there's even been, one of the very first Saturdays after I started in July, we had an alarm go off because there were kids on campus with dark colored squirt guns that were on our playground, and that tipped the cameras off. And so it's very powerful. It's relatively new AI, but we'd rather have false alarms sometimes than no alarm at all, knock on wood, in case there's any kind of a school threat.
Well, I'll tell you what, you almost opened up a can of worms on me there with that AI note there, Mr. Spang. Unfortunately, I look at the clock. It is time to take a break. But AI, I tell you what, that's a conversation for another day, I feel like, because that is a component of education that is fast approaching, and I feel like administrators and districts are going to have to start to consider what the possibilities are of AI from a lot of standpoints. But like I said, we'll leave that one for another day. Best way for folks to learn about Mount Pulaski School, sir?
On our website. So that is www.mp23schools.com. It's a little easier to roll off the tongue now. We did switch that, and so that's got everything. And we're actually going to be in the process this spring of kind of revamping that, giving the website a new look, so it's easily more navigatable, if you will, for all of our stakeholders of the district and anyone outside the district who is thinking about moving to the Lincoln, Decatur, or Springfield area that's looking for a fantastic small school experience like we have to offer.
Very good. Jason Spang, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest on the Zoom call this morning. More to come with him on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. Corn starting today slightly higher, beans lower, and wheat higher. March corn opening 4.96 1/4, up 1 3/4. May corn up 2.5, 5.07 1/4. December new crop 4.68 3/4, up 3/4. March beans starting today 10.67 3/4, down 7 1/4. May beans down 6, 10.82. New crop November 10.67 1/2. That's down 6. March Chicago wheat 5.83 1/4, up 6 1/4. May wheat up 6, 5.94 3/4. July wheat 6.05, up 5 3/4. March bean meal 3.12.10. That's down to $1.90. March bean oil 45.13, down 63 cents. Opening numbers on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Are you wanting to learn more about your health and wellness options in Central Illinois? Visit stealthwellness.com or click on my banner ad at DeWittDailyNews.com. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, show you some simple, under-the-radar ways to improve and take control of your health.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. It's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Mr. Jason Spang, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest on the Zoom call for this morning. And Mr. Spang, I know we're talking about ice and maybe even some snow next week, but summer project season will be upon us here very soon. What's Mount Pulaski Schools planning on for this year?
Well, not only the solar project that I just mentioned, that we're actually looking to put that in, obviously with board approval, but the site we're looking at is right across from the high school. We have a storage shed, a Quonset shed, but obviously some property over there that would include enough panels for us to be self-sustaining. So we wouldn't sell any energy back to the grid, but it would potentially be self-sustaining for us for the district. We're also looking at a bus barn renovation. And so our bus barn is at the corner of Vine and McDonald here in town. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at improving that, adding a wash bay. So we would have 2 wash bays instead of 1. Mm-hmm. Looking at that improvement for this summer, obviously to give us some more storage space as well. And so we're looking hopefully to break ground on that in the beginning of June and then be wrapped up mid-August, by the time we come back to school. Some other things, obviously Veterans Park is wrapping up. We were slated to be done by the end of May. However, we didn't want to push the issue and really rush getting asphalt down in the fall. So we chose to pump the brakes. Most asphalt plants in the spring open up in March. So we'll probably wait for those to open up, but that will give us a little bit of a delay. So we're looking at that project to be done by the end of June instead of the end of May. But we're very excited about that. So
Yeah.
A lot going on.
You had mentioned, a lot of the changes in the new presidential administration. Does any of some of the things coming out of that new administration catch your eye other than the energy stuff? And I don't mean to get super political, but the discussion of eliminating the Department of Education, I don't know if that has at all been on your radar. Does anything out there catch your ear lately, Mr. Spang?
Yeah, it all does. And thank goodness we have amazing state organizations. And I think every other superintendent would tell you the same thing. IASA, the Illinois Association of School Administrators, they look at those things. They're on the front lines. They supply intel for all of the school districts around the state. And, whenever there was the federal freeze that was just temporary, even, we were hearing things coming down the pipeline. So we have legislators, looking at those things at the state level for us. We've been in constant contact with them, and we'll continue to do so. That's one thing that we're looking at from an energy perspective, like you said, but, from everything that obviously everyone can see on the television is, the want to give control back to the states. And so, that's what I keep seeing as well. If that comes to fruition and what that is going to look like, no one has a crystal ball. So, again, from a Mount Pulaski standpoint, we're looking at financial projections. We're looking at what money we do get from the federal government. Some of that includes money for school lunches. So, what does that look like for us if that funding went away? And again, when it comes to developing a budget and even budget amendments, which we're going to be looking at in the next couple months for the spring, we have to look at creative ways to be able to self-sustain ourselves if any of that funding goes away. Another thing is Title I. Title I is federal money that we get to help improve reading, across the board. And so, there's already a lot of unfunded mandates in the state of Illinois, and so those are a challenge in itself in making sure we're compliant with those. But obviously, earmarking certain funds within our district to make us compliant, but then to keep an eye on what's going to happen federally.
Man, a lot going on, Mr. Spang. A lot going on for sure. About a minute left. You mentioned you're revamping your website. What's that website? And are you on social media for folks to follow along? What are some of the avenues folks can keep up with Mount Pulaski schools right now?
Yeah, we're on Facebook as well. So there's Mount Pulaski High School and Mount Pulaski Elementary School Facebook site. We work through ThrillShare, which is a company that we have ties with. A lot of school districts contract through different website providers, but that's certainly ours. And a nice feature is, let's say school closings, for example. I can go into one hub. It's a one-stop shop, and I can send an email, a voice call, a text message, post to Facebook, and post to our live stream, all in one message. So I don't have to send to 5 different locations. I can hit that all at once. And
That's
so
nice.
A lot of school districts have those capabilities now, but that's what we're going to be looking at revamping this summer. Or,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, this spring.
Sure. Well, Mr. Spang, I don't mean to cut you off, sir. I got to let you go. Always good to talk with you. That's Jason Spang, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. Network News is now.
The